Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev.
Heading Advent of Lord Krishna. Next paragraph. When the world was too much overburdened by the unnecessary defense force of different kings who were actually demons but were posing themselves as royal order, at that time the whole world became perturbed and the predominating deity of this earth, known as Bhumi, went to see Lord Brahma to express our calamities on account of the demonic kings. The predominating deity of the earth, Bhumi, assumed the shape of a cow, presented herself before Lord Brahma with tears in her eyes, very much bereaved and weeping, just to invoke compassion of the Lord, and she began to narrate the calamitous position of the earth. Lord Brahma, after hearing the narration of Bhumi, became too much aggrieved, and he at once started for the ocean of milk where Lord Vishnu is lying, accompanied by all the demigods, headed by Lord Shiva and others. Bhumi, the predominant deity of earth, in the shape of the cow, also followed the demigods. Lord Brahma, just arriving on the shore of milk ocean, began to pacify the Lord, who formerly saved the earthly planet, assuming the transcendental form of boar. In the Vedic mantra, there is a particular type of prayers called Purusha Sukta. Generally, by chanting that Purusha Sukta, the demigods offer their obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. It is understood herein that the predominating deity of every planet can see the Supreme Lord of this universe, Brahma, whenever there is some disturbance in that planet. And Brahma also can approach the Supreme Lord Vishnu not directly by seeing him, but he can approach him just by standing on the on the shore of the ocean of milk. There is a planet within this universe which is called Sita Dvipa. And in that planet, the ocean is of milk. It is understood in various Vedic literature that just we have got the ocean of salt water within this planet. Similarly, there are various kinds of oceans in other planets. Somewhere there is the ocean of milk, somewhere there is ocean of oil, somewhere there is ocean of liquor, and there are different types of ocean. And Purusha Sukta is the standard prayer reciting which the demigod appears as the Supreme Personality of God Vishnu, who is lying as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Because he is lying on the milk of ocean, he is called Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, and this Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through him whom all the incarnation within this universe appears. On offering the Purushakta prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by all the demigods, when there was no response apparently heard by the demigods, at that time Lord Brahma personally sat into meditation, and there was transmission of message from Lord Vishnu to Brahma, and Brahma thus broadcast the message to the demigods. That is the system of receiving Vedic knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is received first Brahma from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of heart, as it is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Rida. The transcendental knowledge of Vedas was transmitted to Lord Brahma through the heart. Here also, in the same way, only Brahma could understand the message transmitted by Lord Vishnu, and he broadcast the message to the demigods that they should immediately take action on the message of the Lord. Message was that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going to appear on the earth very soon, along with his supreme powerful potencies, and so long he would remain on the earth planet for executing his particular mission of annihilating the demons and establishing the devotees. The demigods should also remain there to assist him. They should all immediately go and take birth in the family of Jadu dynasty, wherein Lord also appeared in due course of time. Next one. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, self personally appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Before he appears there, all the demigods, along with their wives, shall appear in different pious families of the world, just to assist the Lord in executing his mission. The exact word used in this connection for the demigod is Tatpriyartham, which means the demigod should appear on the earth in order to please the Lord. In other words, any living entity who lives only for satisfying the Lord is a demigod. The demigods were also informed that the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, namely Ananta, who is maintaining the universal planet, extending his millions of woods, he would also appear there before Lord Krishna's appearance. They are also informed that the external potentia of Vishnu, under whom all the conditions are enamored, she would also appear just to execute the purpose of the Supreme Lord. He is already instructed by the personality of Godhead how to appear in order to help him in his mission there. Next one. In this way, Lord Brahma, the father of all Prajapatis, or progenitor of universal population, after instructing and pacifying all the demigods as well as the Mahi, or the predominating deity of the earth, by sweet words departed for his own abode and the highest planetary system called Brahmaloka. That's why the leader of the Jadu dynasty, King Surasen, was ruling over the country known as Mathur, or the district of Mathura, as well as the district known as Surasen, according to his own name. In the beginning, he was the ruling prince of that portion of the country. On account of ruling by Surasen, Mathura became the capital city for all the kings of Jadus. Another reason for making Mathura as the capital of the kings of Jadu dynasty was that this family is very vast family, and they knew that Mathura is the place where Lord Sri Krishna lives eternally, as much as he lives in Dwarka. Once upon a time, Vasudev, the son of Surasen, after marrying Devaki, was going home on his chariot with his newly married wife. The father of Devaki, known as Devak, contributed sufficient dowry at the time of marriage of his daughter, on account of his being very much affectionate for his daughter. At the beginning, he contributed 100 chariots, completely decorated with golden equipments. At that time, Kṛṣṇa, the son of Ugrasen, in order to please his sister Devaki, voluntarily took the reins of the horses of Vasudev's chariot and was driving himself, as it is the custom of Vedic civilization. According to Vedic civilization, when one girl is married, it is a custom that the brother takes the sister and brother-in-law to his home, because the newly married girl may feel too much separation from the father's family. Therefore, the brother goes with her till she reaches her father-in-law's house. Devaki's father, Devak, gave sufficient dowry to his daughter, which are described as follows: that he contributed 400 elephants fully decorated with golden garlands. Similarly, decorated 15,000 horses were contributed, and 1,800 chariots similarly decorated, just to accompany his daughter. He arranged 200 beautiful girls to follow his daughter. The Kshatriya system of marriage is still current in India, that when a Kshatriya is married, along with his wife, another few dozens of young girlfriends of the bride come to the house of the king. Such followers of the queen are called maidservant, but actually they act as friends of the queen. This practice is prevalent from time immemorial, at least from the time before the advent of Lord Kṛṣṇa, that is 5,000 years ago. Also the system was current, and thus Vasudev brought home another set of 200 beautiful girls along with his wife, Devaki. Next verse. While the bride and bridegroom was passing on the chariot, there were different kinds of musical instruments playing in order to indicate auspicious moment. There were concerts, bugles, drums, and kettle drums, all them combined together was vibrating a nice concert. While the procession was passing very pleasingly, and Kṛṣṇa was driving the chariot, at that time there was a miraculous sound vibrated from the sky, which announced especially to Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, you are so full, you are driving the chariot of your sister and brother-in-law, but you do not know that the 8th child of this sister will kill you. Next verse. Kṛṣṇa was the son of Ugrasen, which family was known as Bhoja dynasty. And it is said Kṛṣṇa was the worst of all the Bhoja dynasty king. So immediately after hearing the omen from the sky, he became very much alert and caught hold of the bunch of hair of Devaki and was just about to kill her with his sword. Vasudeva was astonished by seeing the behavior of Kṛṣṇa, and in order to pacify the cruel, blameless brother-in-law Kṛṣṇa, Vasudeva began to say as follows, with great reason and evidences. He said, my dear brother-in-law Kṛṣṇa, you are the most famous king of the Bhoja dynasty, and people know that you are the greatest warrior and valiant king, and how it is that you are so much infuriated that you are ready to kill one woman, and especially she is your sister, at the auspicious ceremony of her marriage. And why you should be so much afraid of death? Death is already born along with your birth. Since you have taken your birth, from the very day you have begun to die. Suppose you are now 25 years old, that means you have already died 25 years. So, every moment, every second you are dying. Why you should be so much afraid of death? Final death is inevitable. Either you may die today or 100 years after. You cannot avoid death. So why you should be so much afraid? Actually, death means annihilation of the present body. So, as soon as the present body is stop functioning and mixed with the elements of material nature, the living entity within the body, according to his own action and reaction, accept another body, and thus gives up the present body. Just like when a man walks on the street, he steps forward one leg, and when he is confident that his leg is situated in a sound ground, he lifts the other leg. In this way, one after another, body is changed and the soul transmigrates. I have seen how the plant worms change from one twig to another so carefully. Similarly, the living entity changes his body as soon as by higher authority his next body is fixed up. Similarly, a living entity, so long he is conditioned within this material world, he must have a material body, one after another. Simply, his particular body is offered by the laws of nature according to his action and reaction in this life. Etc. This body is exactly like one of the bodies which we always see in dream. During our sleeping dream, we create so many bodies according to the mental creation. Just like we have seen gold and also seen a mountain, so in dream we can see a golden mountain by combining the two ideas. Similarly, sometimes we see that we have got a body which is flying in the sky. At that time, we completely forget of our present body. Similarly, these bodies are changing, and when we have got a separate body, we forget our past body. Just like during dream, we see contact with so many new kinds of body, but when you are awakened, we forget all those bodies. Actually, this material body is creation of our mental activities. And at the present moment, we do not recollect what was our past body. Next, the nature of mind is flickering. Sometimes accepts something and immediately rejects this something. So, such accepting and rejecting process in contact with the 5 objects of sense gratification, namely form, taste, smell, sound, touch. So, the mind in its speculative way, when it comes in touch with such objects of sense gratification, the living entity desires a particular type of body and he gets it. Therefore, the body is an offering by the laws of material nature, and the living entity accepts her body and come out again in the material world for enjoying or suffering according to the construction of the body. Unless we have got a particular type of body, we cannot enjoy or suffer according to our mental concoction in the previous life. Actually, a particular type of body is offered to us according to the mental condition at the time of death. The luminous planets like the sun, moon, or the stars reflect themselves in different types of reservoir, like water, oil, ghee. The reflection moves according to the movement of the reservoir. The reflection of moon is on the water. The moving water makes the moon also moving. Actually, the moon is not moving. Similarly, the living entity by mental concoction attains different types of body. Actually, the living entity has no connection with such body. But on account of illusion being enchanted by the influence of Maya, the living entity thinks that he belongs to that particular body. That is the way of conditioned life. Suppose a living entity is now in a human form of body, so he thinks that he belongs to the human community or a particular country, particular place, and he identifies himself in that way and unnecessarily prepares for another body which is not required by him. But such desires and mental concoctions are the causes of different types of body. The covering influence of material nature is so strong that the living entity, whatever body he gets, he is satisfied and he identifies with that body with great pleasure. Therefore, I beg to request you not to be overwhelmed by the dictation of your mind and body. Next paragraph. Vasudeva thus requested also not to be envious to his newly married sister. Why sister? One should not be envious to anyone, because this enviousness is the cause of fearfulness both in this world and as well as in the next world before the Yamaraj. Vasudeva appealed to Kṛṣṇa on behalf of Devaki, stating that she was his younger sister and she is just on an auspicious moment on account of her marriage, and younger sister or younger brother are considered as one's children. So, the position being so delicate, if you kill her, it will go against your high reputation. Thus, Vasudeva tried to pacify Kṛṣṇa by methods of good instruction as well as by differentiation, but Kṛṣṇa was not to be pacified because his association was demonic. Although he was born in a very high royal family, still on account of his demonic association, he was also a demon. A demon never cares for any good instruction. It's like a thief. However, you can give him moral instruction, it is not effective upon a determined thief. Similarly, those who are demonic by nature, atheistic by nature, hardly they can assimilate any good instruction, however upright they may be. That is the difference between demigod and demon. Those who can accept good instruction and try to behave in their life in that way, they are called demigods. And those who are unable to take such good instruction, they are called demons. Vasudeva, however, failing in his attempt to pacify Kṛṣṇa, he thought within himself how to protect his wife Devaki. When there is imminent danger, an intelligent person should try to avoid such dangerous position as far as possible by good intelligence, and in spite of endeavoring by all intelligence, if one fails to avoid any dangerous position, there is no fault on his part. Just one should try his best to execute his duties, but in spite of all endeavor, if the attempt fails, he has no fault. Vasudeva thought it wise, for the present, let me save the life of Devaki. Then, later on, if there are children, I shall see how to save them. He thought within himself, if in future I get one child who can kill Kṛṣṇa, as Kṛṣṇa was thinking, then both Devaki and the child would be saved, because the law of providence is inconceivable. Somewhere or other, let me now save the life of Devaki. There is no certainty how a living entity contacts a certain type of body, as much as there is no certainty how the blazing fire come in contact with a certain type of wood in the forest. When there is a forest fire, it is experienced that the blazing fire sometimes overlaps one tree and catches another tree, influenced by the wind blowing at that time. Similarly, a living entity who may be very careful in the matter of executing his duties, still it is very difficult to know what type of body is going to get next life. Just like Maharaj Bharat, he was very faithful executing the duties of self-realization, but by chance he contracted a temporary affection for a deer, and he had to accept next life the body of the deer. Thus, Vasudeva, after mature deliberation how to save his wife, again began to say with great respect to Kṛṣṇa, although he was the most sinful man. It sometimes happens that a person like Vasudeva, the most virtuous person, has to flatter a person like Kṛṣṇa, the most vicious person. So that is the way of our diplomatic transaction. And Vasudeva, although he was deeply aggrieved within himself, outwardly he presented himself as a smiling. Thus he addressed to the shameless Kṛṣṇa, because he was so much atrocious. Vasudeva said to Kṛṣṇa, "My dear brother-in-law, now just consider that you have no danger from your sister. If you are awaiting some danger, as you have heard a voice of foretelling from the sky, so you are confronted with the sons of your sister. The sons of your sister are not present. Who knows, there may be sons or there may not be sons. Considering all this position, you are safe for the present, and there is no cause of fearing from your sister. Now, if there are sons born of your sister, I promise that I shall present all of them to you for your necessary action." If Kṛṣṇa knew the value of the word of honor from Vasudeva, and he was convinced by his argument, so for that time he freed himself from the heinous action of killing his sister. When Kṛṣṇa thus stopped such killing business, Vasudeva was very pleased, and he eulogized the action of Kṛṣṇa, and in this way he went back to his home. After this, in due course of time, Devaki gave birth to 8 children, as well as one daughter, year after year. When the first son was born, Vasudeva, to keep his word of honor, immediately brought the child before Kṛṣṇa, it is said that Vasudeva was very much celebrated for his word of honor, and he wanted to continue the standard of his fame. Although it was very painful for Vasudeva to hand over the newly born child in the hands of Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa was very much glad to receive the child, but he became a little compassionate with the behavior of Vasudeva. This instance of Vasudeva's behavior with Kṛṣṇa is very exemplary, because for a great soul like Vasudeva, there is nothing considered to be painful in course of discharging the duty. A learned person like Vasudeva carries on duties without being hesitant. On the other hand, what is abominable action for a demoniac person like Kṛṣṇa? It is said, therefore, that saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable condition of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without waiting for any favorable circumstances, and a heinous person like Kṛṣṇa can act any sinful activity, and a devotee can sacrifice anything for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this action of Vasudeva, Kṛṣṇa, although he was demoniac, he became so much satisfied and was surprised to see Vasudeva stop in his promise, thus being compassionate upon him and pleased. He began to say as follows. Once said, my dear Vasudeva, you need not present this child to me, because I have no danger from this child. I have heard that from the 8th child born of you and Devaki would kill me. So why shall I accept this child unnecessarily? You can take him back. After this, when Vasudeva was going back with his firstborn child, although he was little pleased within himself by the behavior of Kṛṣṇa, still he could not believe him, because he knew Kṛṣṇa was uncontrolled, atheistic person. Therefore, he cannot be fixed up in his word of honor. In other words, one who cannot control the senses cannot be fixed up in their determination. There is a saying of one great politician named Chanakya Pandit. He said that never put your trust to the diplomats or to the omen. In other words, those who are addicted to unrestricted sense gratification, they can never be truthful. Neither they can be trusted with any faith. When Vasudeva went away to his home, at that time the great sage Narada came to Kṛṣṇa, and he was informed about Kṛṣṇa's becoming compassionate with Vasudeva and returning his first child. Narada was very much anxious to accelerate the descendants of Lord Krishna as soon as possible. Therefore, he informed Kṛṣṇa that all personalities like Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, and all the cowherds, boys, girls, and the wives of the cowherds men on the one side, and the other side Vasudeva, his father Sudarshan, and all his relatives born in the family of Kṛṣṇa, all persons presently known as the descendants of the Jadu dynasty, and their wives, everyone born in their family at the present moment, their friends and well-wishers are the demigods taking birth in those families. And he warned Kṛṣṇa to be careful of them, because Kṛṣṇa and all his friends and advisors there are demons. Demons are always afraid of the demigods. So, after being thus informed by Narada about the appearance of the demigods in different families, he became immediately too much alert and could understand that all the demigods have already appeared, and Lord Vishnu must be now coming. At once arrested both his brother-in-law Vasudeva and Devaki and put them into prison bars, and in this way Kṛṣṇa imprisoned Vasudeva and his wife Devaki within the prison bars, shackled in iron chains so that they may not go away. And as they were giving birth to a male child, year after year, Kṛṣṇa was killing them one after another, thinking all the babies as incarnation of Vishnu. He was practically afraid of the eighth child, but after a visit of Narada, he came to the conclusion that any child may be Kṛṣṇa, therefore it was better to kill all the babies who may take birth of Devaki and Vasudeva. Next one, this action of Kṛṣṇa is not very difficult to understand. In the history of the world, there are many instances that persons in the royal order, for satisfaction of their ambitions, some of them has killed his father, some of them has killed their brothers, or the whole family. Some of them have killed friends. So, for demonic, greedy royal order, there is nothing astonishing. They can kill anyone for their nefarious ambition. Next paragraph. Kṛṣṇa was aware of his previous birth by the grace of Narada, that in his previous birth he was a demon of the name Kalnemi, and he was killed by Vishnu. And knowing that he had taken his birth now in the Bhojo family, he decided to become deadly enemy of the Jadu dynasty, because Kṛṣṇa was going to take birth in that family, and he was very much afraid that he would be killed by Kṛṣṇa as he was killed in his last birth. Next verse. Thus decided, he first of all imprisoned his father Ugrasen, because he was the chief king amongst the Jadu dynasty, Bhoja dynasty, Andhak dynasty, thus occupied whole kingdom of Sudarshan, Vasudeva's father, and he declared himself as the king of all such places. Thus ends the first chapter in the matter of advent of Krishna.